There we go. We are live, live, live. Okay, awesome. I can see. I'm just going to let just a little bit. We're going to get just a little bit as people come in. Merritt.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. We're just waiting for some of you all to come in. I know I got some messages that it was going to be just a little bit behind. How's everybody doing?
Good.
As you're coming in, guys, like I always say, put your questions in the chat. We are live, so we can answer questions. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you as always. You're on another session of Tuesday Tune-ins with Angeline with the Deals with Angie team. We have a wonderful guest. I have known, oh gosh, Mary, I don't know how many years I've known you, but it's been a while. And we have Merritt Whittier on the line. I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Last name correct? Whittier?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I try to make sure I do that. Guys, Merritt is one of the top-notch South Carolina home inspectors here in our state. We have had the pleasure of working with Merritt now for, oh gosh, I probably want to say half a decade, probably more than that. He has assisted numerous clients along with myself in our own personal homes. That's how much I trust him. Merritt is the owner of South Carolina Home Inspections. He has been open, guys, since 2001. So we're looking at 23 years. You've been open, right, as a home inspector?
As my own business. That's right. Yes.
Yes, home business. And he not only does home inspections, but he also does CL 100s too, which are the termite inspections. And we're in South Carolina, so you know how that goes. We have every bug here. If you haven't noticed, this has been warming up. And prior to that, he actually was working in the termite construction industry since 1980. 1980. Merritt, I was born in 81. So that's how long you've been doing it since I've been alive.
Well, yeah, I started off as a teenager there in the early 80s and then kept in the different forms of businesses of termite and construction. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, guys, this segment here is about what are home inspections and do you need it? Okay. And I'm going to allow Merritt to kind of go on to tell you what the home inspections are. One of the things that we do, and I'll go through kind of from a realtor standpoint, what it means to us too. Merritt, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise. If you don't mind just giving us a scope of what your primary role is as a home inspector, you know, what it is as inspector when we do these inspections, I greatly appreciate it. And we'll see if we have some questions and we'll have a discussion.
Very good. Very good. Well, first off, the home inspection is pretty much just what it says. I'm doing a top to bottom from the foundation to the roof. So inside and out, crawl space, electrical, plumbing, anything that I can see and touch, I'm going to inspect. We don't knock holes in walls. We don't tear things apart and all that like you see on some of these TV shows. That's not the way it works. But basically, I tell people it's like you test drive a car when you buy it. I'm test driving the house for you. So when you test drive a car, you don't take it all. Well, most people don't take it all apart. So, but I'm going to try to find the items in the house that you will need to go to the next level on. And that's the primary job of the home inspector, is to get you to the roofer or the electrician or the plumber or structural engineer or whoever you really need to get the bigger, further advice from, because they're the ones that's licensed as the plumber and licensed as the structural engineer. So they're the ones who have that knowledge and ability to tell you more about it. But I'm trying to find the items that can possibly get you to that next level. That's the short version.
You know, I like how you said it, that you're the one who's test driving the car before you buy it off the lot. I love that. I got to start using that. So I hope you didn't trademark it.
No. I wish I could. That would be good.
I'm going to use that because that's exactly what it is, guys. Merritt is going in there. He's turning on the dishwasher. He's turning on the hot water. He's checking the water flow. He's going in the attic, like you said, the crawl space. He's going underneath the crawl space, looking those places that, you know, unfortunately, as agents, we're not able to go in to see, and we're not even allowed to allow homeowners to do that due to liability. I know you probably see the memes where you see the dad and the mom. They got their construction hat on with the black light, and they're putting things up to the wall. Guys, he's not in there to build you a new house. He's in there literally to work the normal things that's in the house that you're going to be using on a day-to-day basis, from the toilets to the showers to the stoves, the ovens, and making sure that those things are you know, those things are working functionally. And we do that to kind of, because once, and Merritt, if you don't mind, once you have compiled your inspections, what is it that you do afterwards? If you don't mind kind of elaborating the reports that you provide and so forth.
Okay, well, after I get done with the physical inspection, if the client is present, which most of the time the client is, sometimes for whatever reason they're out of state or whatnot, and they're not present, but I'll go on a tour of the findings. So I take the client either around physically and we walk around the house, or we'll go through my camera and we'll look at whatever findings that we had. And then we'll have questions from the client at that point. And from there, I go and I put a report together, and I put the pictures on the report, and I issue that report with the finding and pictures that evening. And then I tell them if they have any questions. Once they read the report, let me know. If there's anything that for whatever reason that's missing from the report that we talked about, let me know so I can amend it. Most of the time I don't forget any things, but sometimes things happen. But that's the next step after the inspection, is to make sure that the client doesn't have any questions about anything that I'm looking at, or anything that they might have seen that for whatever reason I didn't see, which normally doesn't happen. But anyway.
Yeah, and guys, when he's also, and keep in mind, you know, there is going to be always something wrong with the house. It is a man-made structure, whether it's new or older or resale. It's not a question of if there's something, no matter when, something will happen. And so with the home inspection reports, we're not there to put scuffs on the wall. You know, like if they bumped, if the furniture has, you know, scratched the floors, because a home's going to have regular, you know, wear and tear, you know, but he's there to let us know of certain things that can affect the functionality of the house. You know, like if your hot water heater, you know, isn't working properly. And then also, if there's certain things that are past his scope, he will sometimes, if he feels that we need to get a plumber out there, he will make those notations on there too as well. Because he's not able to quote you a quote of repairs. We have to bring somebody else in that could be able to come in to get those repairs and so forth. And when he provides us with those reports, depending on how our contracts are set up, then that's when, as agents and clients, that's when the agent and client, we get with you to discuss what's important to you. You know, some of the things, and I tell people this all the time, Barry, you can quote me if I'm wrong. I say it's your job to let someone know everything that's wrong with the house. So even if the door doesn't close all the way because the hinge needs to be tight, he has to let you know about that. But that might not be something that you want to place on your repair addendum. You know, there may be some major issues that we need to address that's more important to you, because it's like, well, you know, I can do that. It's just that Merritt can't go in and, you know, tighten up that hinge and say it's okay, even though he probably may know how to. He has to just put it on his report.
And that's one of the things when we finish the inspection and we go over any questions and the findings, I'll ask the people, because a lot of things can be cosmetic. So I'll say, do you really want this cosmetic on the report, or do you just want to have knowledge of it? Because I want the report to be able to have everything that the client wants on it, but I also don't want it to be overloaded with things that aren't necessary for them to be able to move forward with buying the house. But
Exactly.
so, like for instance, if there's a loose hinge, sometimes the client will say, no, I don't want the loose hinge on there, but sometimes they do. So it just depends on. Now, some things are a major item. I don't give that. There's no option if there's something wrong with the electrical, because it's safety that goes on there. But minor cosmetic items can be sometimes left out of the report if needed by the client.
And one thing I do also, guys, I love about you, Merritt, is that you have that. And see, I didn't even know the background that you had until you sent it over to me for today. You know, being around construction, but now it all makes sense because there have been times where the client will ask questions about certain things, and you're able to speak on that. To hey, this is what this is. Versus there have been times in situations with other inspectors, and if there is a loose hinge. the buyers think, oh my gosh, the house is gonna fall down.
Yeah.
I promise you it's not. That's one thing that I've always been appreciative of is that you have advised us so that we're more knowledgeable as agents of, hey, Angelina, this is what this is. This is what this type of crack is. This is what you need to be on the lookout for. Because what I do now is when I'm walking through houses, if I see certain things that it may be a crack that's slanted, I know, okay, oh, that might be something foundation wise or settling wise, or I see that it's something straight down. Okay, that might be something dealing with drywall. But I also know too, to make a note of it. And when you get in there, like, hey, Merritt, if you don't mind, check this out a little bit more for us. Okay.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah. I always tell people.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I always tell people there's no such thing as the perfect house, like you already mentioned. But when I get past the major areas of roof, foundation, electrical, and plumbing, to me, that's a perfect house because the rest of it's just minor things. But still, anyway.
Exactly. And those are the things that you really want to look at, guys, because, and here's the thing, and I'm just going to say this as an agent and also as a homeowner who has had to replace some things. Home inspectors are only in your house. Think about it. How many times have you test driven a car and everything's been fine and you drive it off the lot and next thing you know, you may have to get something fixed? It's the same thing with houses. These inspectors are literally in your home, hour, half hour, 2 hours max. That's exactly what they're in there for. Yeah. And so they only can check what they can. Once you get in there and you have a family of 5 like myself and you're turning on things and you got the heat and air. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've had to replace 2 HVACs in both houses, and I've gotten every inspection in the wind. But again, we're in South Carolina, where we're filling every different season in one day, and that puts a lot of wear and tear on certain components like HVAC. And so those are things that as homeowners too, we need to be prepared for. And like I said, the inspection is for test drive, so that way you can get those things kind of fixed and things of that nature. Okay. All right. Yeah. And well, and also Merritt, I like to talk about this part too, because this is something you and I've always spoken about in regards to when on the sales side, guys. So home inspections are not necessarily just for buyers. Sellers, you can also get home inspections prior to you listing your home. That has been a suggestion that I have done for some homes when they're like, Angelina, I don't know what's wrong, but I know there's some things wrong. We'll sometimes have brought Merritt in to give us inspections prior to listing the house. And then honestly, I've done that with both homes that I've listed. But here's the thing, though, sellers, once you find out about it, you have to either make others aware of it or you have to fix it. And so therefore, those are things you have to keep in mind too. As agents, once you know about it, we've been provided that home inspection report. When we're listing your home, we either need to put that report online or we need to fix the items that Merritt says it becomes an issue. But sometimes it can be beneficial. Merritt, can you kind of share with sometimes have you done a lot of home inspections for sellers who are about to list?
Yes, because most people do not go under their house or go in their attics. And of course they don't go around testing their electrical system and things normally. They probably have an idea of turning on their faucets where they have a leak underneath the sink or whatever. But the areas where people don't go all the time, crawl space and attics, they don't know what's going on. So it's good for the seller to have an idea before. In my opinion, it's good for them to have an idea before they list the house, because once the buyer gets a home inspector in there and they find a leak in the attic or find something going on in the crawl space, the seller's most likely going to have to fix it. So if they can get it fixed before then, it gives a better feeling to the buyer not to have it fixed afterwards, to my opinion. So.
Exactly. And also, guys, sometimes we've also called Merritt in if we've had someone who's done a home inspection for a buyer, and the seller and the buyer's home inspector may say, "Oh my goodness, there's about $50,000 worth of damage. The house
Yeah.
is falling." We have sometimes brought Merritt into to either, hey Merritt, can you look at this? Because especially with him being knowledgeable in home inspections as well as termite inspections, he's been able to also be able to review certain things and say, no, this right here is based upon this, or sometimes go in and re-inspect for us to make sure that certain repairs that have been done by contractors or have been done properly. And that's something that you can be able to do, guys, buyers and sellers. You can be able to have a home inspector come in there and re-inspect. Sometimes when there's major repairs, we sometimes also set that up with Merritt to go ahead and have it on his books to go back in there to re-inspect. Because guys, if we're looking at, like he said, crawl spaces, I'm not going to be able to go in a crawl space. I have been in some crawl spaces. I don't want to be on your bellies, but I have been in some that you can walk under. And trust me, there are a lot of things you do not want to see in those crawl spaces, from spiders, snakes, and everything else in between there. So that's when you definitely want to have the professional go in there. And the same thing with attics. I could go, I have been in probably a lot more attics than I have been in crawl spaces, but still, I don't know as an agent to what to see if there's certain leaks in there. And also that too, guys, as agents, we can't really comment on those types of things. We can let you know if we see an issue, but we have to advise you to bring in the professional to come in, like Merritt, to give us a clear understanding of what's going on. Okay. If you don't mind touching on this, since we're talking about attics, if you see a leak, what are some of the things that you do when there's a presence of a leak, or some of the things that you utilize to detect leaks, or to determine if it's an active leak or not?
Okay. Well, in the attic, and this is something that once any homeowner, whether they living in their current house or buying a house, periodically you should go up into your attic, particularly in the summertime. Like right now, we have these thunderstorms, and just, you don't have to go everywhere necessarily, but shine a flashlight around. And if your insulation is nice and fluffy, then it's not an issue. But if you see something matted down somewhere, pressed down, then you need to get a close look to find out why that insulation is matted down. And then you would be looking at your sheathing to see if there's any stains on it. Moisture readings don't work in attics because they dry out so quickly. So the next step would be to make sure that it's actually an active leak, when it's actually raining, is to be up there again and seeing where the actual water is coming from, because water can travel along the sheathing and rafters and whatnot. And so the leak can start in one area and actually manifest itself in another area. But that's one of the best ways. Just look at your insulation, and if it's nice, fluffy, and standing up, then no issues.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Now, do you sometimes have people who are not in the buying or selling process that will call you periodically to just come and do a home inspection to check in on things?
No, actually, it's always just been buyers or sellers, come to think of it.
All right. Yeah. And guys, I know we're saying buyers and sellers, investors. We also have it to where as inspectors too will go out there to inspect prior to you putting a listing on. There's been times when I've had inspectors go out there for listings, and we're talking about the ones to where it's a lot of work, and so that investor's trying to determine, not for regular homes, but for those ones that they're trying to determine, kind of, hey, can you check the main components, because I'm trying to see, especially when we're dealing with properties where it's as is, which majority a lot of times at investor properties we're going to be as is. But have you ever had to deal with that too? You've had to go in sometimes for investors prior to them placing the offer in to kind of just see
not often, but I've had it in the past, that situation where people wanting to know before they actually, I guess like at auctions, sometimes they have to bid on these houses, but yes, it's happened before, but I don't get a lot of those, but yeah, it's possible.
Yes, it is. And guys, when we do, normally when, like I say, when we are, especially in the buying process, having a home inspection is completely optional for you as a buyer. We cannot force you to have a home inspection, but as your agent, I am going to advise that you get and recommend. I have to use this term loosely because we have to make sure we're not saying. We do recommend that you get a home inspection where he goes in and checks things from the electrical sockets, the water pressure, in the crawl space, in the attic, and all in between. We do recommend that you get those things along with the CO 100 and HVAC. It's just because, again, these are man-made structures. It's not a question of if there's going to be something that, or will be something. I think one of the cleanest homes we've had, and we might have just had one just recently because it was like only one thing. And I remember years back there was one, and so I've literally probably had about 2 houses that have had probably one thing. And guys, and we've inspected homes from homes that are $50,000 on up to $1 million plus. It's not a question of if there's going to be something. There will definitely be something that might be there. But it's just a matter of you knowing what it is to see how you would like to proceed. If it's something, and it all depends on how the contract is, guys. Oh, go ahead, Merritt. You was about to say something. Sorry.
No. I was just shifting my camera.
I know. I'm sorry. I have the screen on mine, the desktop. If you got to hold it in your hand, I'm so sorry.
Well, if I ever do this again, next time I'll do it on a laptop. But yeah, the phone is.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem at all. But no, when it depends also how your contract's written up, and whether you're utilizing the Deals with Angie team or you have your own agent. Guys, Merritt is available. One thing I like also about Merritt now, and the things that we're starting to see is that builders with new construction, they are now advising to, as of right now, as agents and as you as the potential homeowner, we're not able to go in these homes during home inspections. And so one thing I always appreciate about Merritt is the fact that he has access to those agent boxes, which a lot of inspectors do not. And I know as a consumer and a client, that probably doesn't mean too much to you, but as agents, it means a lot to us, because when we're not able to necessarily open up a home, and let's say you have different work hours and you need an inspection first thing in the morning, and we may have a closing first thing in the morning, not able to open up, Merritt is able to do so. So that helps out a lot to give us a lot more flexibility with scheduling these appointments. But again, with these builders, some of them are requesting that we're not able to be there along with the buyer. And so it's great to be able to have Merritt, who has access to the agents' boxes, to go in there and to make sure that you have someone who's going to give you full detailed reports of what's going on. And then what we do is we just take to the builder. So don't be afraid to get those home inspections with new construction. We have Merritt go in there and do it all the time. And here's nothing, guys. Depending on who the builder is, if they have an 11th month, 12th month inspection where you can kind of let them know of what's going on with the home, since we're talking about cars, it's like your bumper to bumper warranty almost. Well, have Merritt come back in there around that 11th to 12th month, and you know what? He'll draw up your report, lets you know about things as far as, because the home has settled, it has expanded and contracted, and you could be able to take that to the builder too.
And plus, you've been living in the house for 11 months, so you can see a lot more things during that period of time to be able to tell me that I can investigate further on this. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, Merritt, I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your expertise. Guys, Merritt I promise you, here's his contact information. I'm going to put this down here so you can have it. Please contact him if you are looking to get a home inspection, if you're in the home buying process, if you're about to list your home and you would like to have Merritt come out here. He's a world of knowledge. His phone number is right here at the bottom. Please reach out to him at 803-317-3411. He's probably going to be mad because I put his direct contact number on there. So that is his cell phone. So the phone he's on right now, if you have questions, it will ring through. So try to wait till after we get off this live before you call him. Seriously, one thing I do appreciate also about Merritt, guys, from my client's point of view, they are very appreciative of how, if they have further questions, even sometimes after the deals or during where we're in the transition of negotiating deals, he's there to give an explanation of what's going on, of what's happening with the home, and in terms that you can actually understand. That's important during this home buying process, because you don't need anybody to tell you this and this, and you're like, wait a minute. And even as agents, because we're like, well, what is this and that? He's able to explain it in layman terms of exactly what's going on in your home, what to expect for. And also, if we need to sometimes get him on the line with contractors when we're looking at the repairs, he's always willing and able to work with them as well. Again, it's all about teamwork, and so if you're looking for someone to add to your team during this process, you can't go wrong with Merritt. All right.
Thank
Merritt,
you.
is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone before we go off live?
Not anything in particular, other than the fact that just realize that the home inspector, just like you said, is only there for a couple hours. So you can only learn so much in a couple hours, but also there is a lot to learn in that couple hours. So anyway.
Exactly. And Merritt, everyone is very appreciative of you being on. These are some of the comments we're having as far as great information.
Very good.
Lots of info. Yeah, I told you we were live when people could comment.
Definitely live.
It's a great info. And so we thank you guys again for coming on. As always, here with the Tune In Tuesdays, we're here to provide information to the community. We're all about getting information out on the home buying process. We're talking about all the processes, not just the financing. You get the financing, but then you have your due diligence and inspection period. This is where you want to contact This is where you want to contact Merritt, because this is imperative for you and it helps you as far as your decision. This is his contact number below. Thank you guys so much for coming in at this Tuesday Tune-ins. Merritt, I would love to have you possibly. I know you're going on vacation next week.
Maybe, hopefully, maybe.
Okay. I would love to have you back on a Tuesday Tune-ins to be able to talk more about from a CL 100 standpoint with termite inspections. We can get together and just let me know when I can get back on your schedule. But I greatly appreciate it.
No, I appreciate this opportunity and look forward to maybe doing this again. That'd be great. Very good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, guys, this is Merritt's information. And as always, if you're in the process of selling and buying, please, down here below, this is my contact information, my cell number, as well as my email address. You're seeing live of who we deal with. We make it our purpose to make sure that we're dealing with ethical people who are all about customer service. And that's one thing that this gentleman to my right is all about, is that. And so I thank you so much, Merritt, for always assisting Carlos and myself. You don't understand how much we appreciate it. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. Guys, join us next week, Tuesday Tune-ins, every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And these also will be replayed on Facebook Live, Deals with Angie Facebook Live, Deals with Angie on Instagram, as well as YouTube, Deals with Angie, Twitter, formerly now known as X, and LinkedIn as well. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great one and a blessed one. Thank you again, Merritt.
Thank you.